How's it, everybody? This is it's about 5 days in January. Um, this started on the January 7th, and I was out on my porch, and I noticed up on the rafter a big moth. And so I always think, first of all, is it the anniversary of somebody passing? Is it somebody's birthday? Um, you know, is there some reason that I would be visited by a moth? Um, but there wasn't anything. Um, so I see it and I know it's there, but I'm okay right now with it. But then the next day on the 8th, it's still there. So I'm kind of starting to get a little bit, concerned because the 8th wasn't a birthday, it wasn't the anniversary of anything. There was no significance to the 8th. The thing was, though, that because it was there a second time, and a moth for me is always either somebody who has passed and is coming back to visit or somebody who is in the process of passing. So because it wasn't the anniversary of anything, I was getting uncomfortable with this thing. So one of the things was the 10th, because this was the 8th now. So it was the 7th, the 8th. On the 10th was my son Zion's birthday. It was coming up. And they were on the mainland and they were finishing up a tour. For those of you that don't know, my son Zion is a member of the band The Green. And so shout out to Zion and the boys. But they were on the mainland and it was really, really bad weather. And so they were finishing up this last show and they were going to have to travel to Southern California overnight in a tour bus in order to catch a plane to come home. And they haven't always had the best tour bus drivers. So I was starting to get a little bit worried about Zion them. But again, I just didn't know what it was. So then the morning of the 9th, Kevin had left for work. He had to open, and so he was gone really early. And it was a little bit after 5 in the morning, and just a couple of minutes, and all the smoke detectors in the house go off all at once. Woke me out of a dead sleep. I jumped up because you know how loud they are, right? So it was pitch black. It was just a little bit after 5. It was January, so very dark. And these things are all going off. So first thing I always do is, try to push the buttons, right, to turn them off. And I'm going around and I had to get chairs because I can't reach the button. So I had to get a chair, push the button. It didn't go off. So I took one of those batteries out. I went to the other one. I go to push the button. It won't stop. The other ones are downstairs, are going off. And so it's so loud. And I don't have a lot of neighbors, but sound travels across lava. So I was really concerned about this noise that was going on so early in the morning. So I was more concerned about the people around, that it was disturbing them. So, but I can't get them to stop just by pushing the buttons. So I figure, okay, I've got to go get, the big ladder. I've got to go downstairs and get the big ladder, and then I can remove them. And but it's taking so long that I figure, okay, let me just go to the electrical panel. And I have all the lights on in the house because it's so dark. And I go to the electrical panel and I find the two switches, one for the smoke detectors upstairs and one for the one downstairs. So I turn both of those off, but they keep going. It doesn't stop the smoke detectors. They're just blaring. So I think, okay, maybe they're mislabeled. So I turn off the electrical to the entire house and everything goes black, pitch black. But the smoke detectors are going. All 5 of them. They're just going off. And so I thought, what? So I flip it back on, thinking it was maybe a fluke that it didn't turn the power off. Flip it back off again. I go back into darkness. They still keep going. So, okay. Oh shit. What? Okay. So, turn the lights back on, right? Run into the house, come downstairs here, take the batteries out because I hadn't even tried it down here. I take the batteries out. They stop. The ones down here stop. So awesome. I go upstairs. I get to one of them and it won't stop. So I pull this thing out of the ceiling. I go to the other one. I push the button. It stops. So, but the big, huge, it's not the huge one, but it's at the top of our living room and it's mounted way up high. So I have to get the bar stool and I had to get a cane and I'm still can't reach it by standing on the bar stool with this cane. So I'm lunging at this thing. Finally, I hit it enough times to where it knocks it and it's hanging and then it stops. But it took me so long to do this. I mean, it was going on like a half hour already. And my heart's doing this. My heart is just pounding. And my adrenaline is just going crazy because I literally had been running through the house and dragging chairs and just. So I think, okay, it stopped. The sun is starting to come up. So I go out on the porch and I realize it's my grandniece's birthday. Her birthday is the 9th. And I gave her her Hawaiian name. And her Hawaiian name speaks about that first light before the sun even comes up. And that's the time of day it was at this point. And so I watched the sun and I thought, was this an announcement that I had to get up and witness this because this is what her name was about? I don't know. I was so confused. And so, but I'm watching this and I'm thankful actually that I'm up to see this and it's her birthday. But I noticed the moth again. The moth is there. So now it's just worse. It's worse. All of this stuff that just happened, the moth being there, now this is the 3rd day, and it's there. So Zion is still on the mainland. The next day is his birthday. I'm so, I don't know what the word is. It's just anxiety, worry. So the next day, it's Zion's birthday. And I noticed that a few of his fans had posted photos of him on social media. So I knew he was okay. That was his birthday. But they also had to travel home. And so I'm getting, I don't know, just this in the pit of my stomach. Worried, just worried. And the next day, the morning of the 11th, I see that, well, first of all, the moth is still there. And I see that the green has made it back home. And they've arrived, and everybody's okay. And so that was better. That was like, oh, okay. But the moth is still here. I don't know what this is. I don't know what the moth is. So after a couple of hours, I had come back out on the porch and the moth was gone. So I found out that a friend of mine had passed away who lived in Chicago. And he had been sick. And I don't know if he was, I never asked his girlfriend. This man was a friend of my brother's, and we got to be better friends through social media. And I was friends with his girlfriend. And he had been sick. And so I don't know if his passing, I don't know if he was unconscious. I don't know if he was in a coma. I don't know the details. I don't know if he was, in and out. But it was him. It was him that had visited. And he was a really kind, gentle man. And, I didn't feel it was okay to ask his girlfriend about the details of his passing, because that's a very private thing. And I didn't want to intrude on that. But because he was so sick, I almost feel like, well, I don't almost feel this. This is what I think is when you're in between, you're physically, you're still here, but you're also there. I think that we have the ability to travel. I think we have the ability to see our loved ones here. I think we can do that. And I think it was David. I think it was David that came. Actually, I know it was David that came because that moth flew away. And then I saw that his girlfriend posted that he had passed away. So, I don't know why I get visits for other people, but I do. And I think maybe sometimes when something's going on in your life and it's so close to you that you aren't actually able to see past that event. And I think that I get the visitors so that I'm able to tell them their loved one. We're just We're energy. We're energy. We have a body here because we need it to be on this earthly plane. But in the end, we're all energy. So I think sometimes my visitors are so that I can relay it to the loved one or the family, even if it's just to say they were here, you know. So that's the story of David passing. Aloha.